Hello, everyone. My name is Ronald Denisio, and I'm a seventh grade social studies teacher. I wanted to take the time to talk about how to have students participate in annotating a shared primary source text set using Google Docs and Google Classroom. I'll take the time to highlight the benefits of the strategy and demonstrate how to implement the strategy in synchronous and asynchronous learning environments. I found this strategy particularly helpful during synchronous sessions. Sometimes it is hard to create space for every voice to be heard, but I have been finding that I can engage a lot more students in this activity and hear from more students by asking them to collaborate on a shared document. Asking students to work collaboratively also allows students to use each other as resources and work together when analyzing challenging primary sources. The first step is to utilize the New York City Department of Education Teach Hub lessons and make a copy of the file for each of your classes. For example, I have 4 sections, so I'll take the time to make a copy for each of my classes to have a new document to analyze. You can locate the Passport to Social Studies lessons by clicking this link here, accessing the grades K-12 Passport digital curriculum, selecting grade 7. For the document annotation strategy, this is from 2 lessons in the first Passport to Social Studies unit for grade 7, Native Americans, Early Encounters, and Colonial Development. You can find these lessons in the mini unit C, Colonial Development, for day 13 and 14, Institution of Slavery in the Americas. You can also find this strategy in day 19, Power and Persecution. I wanted to make this video for all of you because I believe you can use this annotation strategy for many primary and secondary sources throughout each of the Passport units. I've had success using the strategy in Unit 2 for the Boston Massacre lessons, which can be found in Mini Unit A, Road to Independence, Day 5 and 6. I've also had success using the strategy for Unit 2, Day 16, the Declaration of Independence, which can be found here. And finally, for Unit 3, Day 5 and 6, Founding Perspectives on Slavery. So like I said, I'll be focusing specifically on Unit 1, Day 13 and 14 for the Institution of Slavery in the Americas, but there's a lot of different ways that you can use this strategy to engage your learners. The next step is to add the document to your Google Classroom post with the slides for the day. You have the option on Google Classroom to make a copy for each student, but for the purpose of this activity, we want to select students to edit the file. So to do this, you'll find the Add and click that. You'll find Google Drive and click that link, which will open up to your drive where you can find the annotation primary source text set that you made a copy of. You'll select the copy that you would like to use. Press Insert. And now you have the option to either make a copy for each student in which students can individually write their notes or annotations for no one to see. They can view the file, but that would not allow them to edit the file directly. So for the purpose of this activity, we want to select students can edit the file. It's important to remember that you do have the option to toggle back and forth from these settings even after you post your assignment to Google Classroom. So if you want to do this, you can always post the assignment for the classroom, have students collaborate on a shared document, and then go back after class and select students can view file so that they can no longer make edits to the document. Before starting the activity, I just wanted to stress the importance of this slide here and make sure to preface to students the difficulty of learning about the mistreatment of Native people and Africans through history. Acknowledging that they may encounter terms in this lesson that we know are not appropriate, but unfortunately representative of words used during the time period. And then also to hold space after students annotate and collaborate on a shared document for students who express their discomfort and feelings of anger or distress that may come up when learning about topics throughout history. Now that we've posted our shared collaborative doc to Google Classroom, we are ready to engage students in this document review activity in a synchronous environment. The next step is to take the time to read the excerpt from the primary source that you choose to model for students and model thinking out loud for students while simultaneously demonstrating how to complete the activity for students. For example, I'll read the directions out loud to my students, and we'll talk about how we will analyze the following document and make a comment about what you see, what you think, or questions, comments, or reactions that you have. And then I'll go over the specific ways to respond to a document. For example, the bullet points here say, highlight a portion of the text below that you wish to comment on. And I'll demonstrate for students how to do that here by highlighting the text and clicking the blue add comment icon, which gives me an opportunity to make a comment and make my annotations visible for the rest of my classmates. Once you write your comment in the pop-up box, the goal is to read and respond to the comments made by at least 2 of students' classmates. So the excerpt that I chose here is the first excerpt of this middle passage document review activity and primary source text set. The excerpt from the life of Olaudah Equiano, written in 1789. And I chose to focus on reactions that I have to the text. And what I'll do is I'll model reading out loud a part of the text for students and also write out or type out my annotations, which you see on the right-hand side here. I've chosen to write, it is very upsetting to think about the number of people that were brought to the Americas against their will from Africa. It's hard to imagine being kidnapped and taken away at such a young age. And this shocked me because the treatment of enslaved people by Europeans was extremely harsh and careless. After I've modeled for students how I want them to respond and react to the primary sources, I'll provide time and space in my synchronous session for students to work collaboratively and annotate any of the document text set that they choose using the strategies that I just showed for them. Additionally, there are multiple ways to differentiate this activity to provide multiple entry points, including chunking the text or asking students to focus on one primary source or an excerpt of the primary source instead of all of them. You can also set up a learning partnership by utilizing breakout room features on Zoom or Google Meet and have students collaborate on one of the documents. Finally, once you have compiled all of your student responses, you can review them to determine student understanding. I like to take the time either the next day or use time at the end of class during the wrap-up for students to look at each other's observations and questions to push the conversation further. You can also ask questions that students have created to engage in inquiry throughout the unit as you learn more and more about a given topic.